gotta tell somebody.
This is the best thing I've ever seen.
That. Let's talk about that.
You need this. Listen to this.
Memorable and exciting.
Well, then be less boring.
I'm going to tell everyone. Wait here.
Mighty remarkable, Big Daddy. Remarkable?
Remarkable.
Welcome to Remarkable, a podcast for B2B marketers that deconstructs the most iconic moments in film, television, pop culture, and advertising for a single purpose: to give you, the B2B marketer, the same storytelling techniques that the pros use. In each episode, you will learn techniques from Hollywood, Pixar, Marvel, and beyond, from Spielberg's hands to yours, bringing remarkable content ideas to you every single week. I'm Ian Faison, CEO of Caspian Studios. This is Remarkable. This week, we're talking marketing lessons from Knight Rider. With the help of our special guest, Senior Director of Content Strategy at Equifax, Ashley, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks. How are you guys doing?
I am doing wonderful. Excited to have you on the show. Excited to chat about our favorite car and our favorite guy, the Hoff, today.
Hoff.
I can't wait. And of course, we're going to get into how you think about content strategy, brand, and all that. But first, why the heck did you pick Knight Rider to talk about today?
Okay, so first, I kind of need to back up a little and explain that I have horrible taste in TV and movies. I'm known for it. Don't let me pick the movies. Don't let me pick the TV. It's going to be terrible. If it's got, I don't know, aliens and robots and they turn into cars, or Michael Bay and they're a funny shade of orange, I just really, I lean heavy into escapism and anything that Shonda Rhimes does. So I'm very simple in that case. So 80s TV is perfect for me because it's awesome, right? Like, it's very low stakes villains. So the villains are baddies, but they're low stake bad guys. And the good guys are so earnest. And I just love that, right? Like, I want my good guys to be good guys, my bad guys to be bad guys, and I want my good guys to always win. I'm a real simple creature like that. These I love. It's fine if you watch those really like prime shows and that premium content where you have the anti-hero struggling with his internal demons while, I don't know, in some dystopian future. That's awesome. That makes my soul die. That's just not how I'm going to get a good night's sleep. So Knight Rider is a perfect fit for me because, again, the good guy is so earnest and he's always going to win, and it's low stakes villainry. And the car is awesome. I mean, the car is really cool. I mean, it was all this future focused technology that now is actually really commonplace, like voice activation. We talk to smart speakers. It's not a big deal. But in this show, this was like the future. And I just love that.
Zooming out to Equifax, tell us just what it means to be Senior Director of Content Strategy.
As you can imagine, Equifax is a highly matrixed organization. So I always laugh that, like, being at the director level, you are either flexing up or flexing down in any situation. So depending on, we have a BU structure. So with some of the BUs, I'm really nestled in really, really tight with their work. And it's a lot of tactical strategy, working together, hand in glove, that kind of thing. And then for some of my BUs, they have their own content teams, they have their own structures. And it's really just me coming in and acting as guidance, best practices, stitching together like enterprise priorities, sitting in a lot of meetings trying to like glue things together for the different groups and that kind of stuff. So content, I was like, my first boyfriend. It's my first love. I started in content, then I moved to social and brand, and I stayed in brand, and then I went back, and now I'm back in B2B marketing, which is really kind of where my jam is. It's what I really like. And I think I'm not channel agnostic because I do work within Equifax.com, but then we have all of our also other regions. So I'm always working with those .coms and those teams, depending on what we're working on. But I stick pretty squarely in the .com realm. Everybody has their own social teams. Everybody has their GTM teams, their product marketing teams, email. And then I'm over here going, okay, how do we rally the troops in and around their .coms? So I like it. It's a lot of it's strategic thinking, but it's really, really understanding like process and people and tools and being able to glue a lot of things together. So that's the fun part, because it's really advanced problem solving for me.
Meredith, what the heck is Knight Rider?
So Knight Rider is essentially an 80s retelling of The Lone Ranger.
That is Meredith O'Neill, our amazing producer extraordinaire.
So the producer, who is Glenn A. Larson, who also produced Battlestar Galactica and Magnum P.I., among other shows, he said it's one man comes into town and he has a little bit more going for him than people think. And that's a great theme. I didn't make that concept up. That's just what it is. So NBC's head of entertainment at the time, Brandon Tartikoff, we're talking like early 80s, like 1981. He's the one who came up for this idea, for this sort of simple, basically like nonverbal hero who has a sentient car as essentially like a sidekick. And so they plotted out the idea of the plot is pretty nuts. It's a self-made billionaire.
Well, the setup of the plot, because it's a episodic TV show basically, right? So it's the premise, but it's not like a plot that, right. This is 80s TV, so it's like every episode is its own unique thing for the most part. But this setup is absolutely wild. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. It's a really absurd setup. So there's a self-made billionaire named Wilton Knight, and he rescues a police detective after the detective suffers a near-fatal gunshot wound to the face. And he basically has his face reconstructed, and then the billionaire renames him Michael Knight.
Michael Knight? Michael Long is dead. Remember that.
How do I suddenly become Michael Knight?
Yes, well, driver's license, credit cards. It's all on Mr. Knight's orders.
These are good now. Could have dated these ahead if you wanted me to stay here.
And he assigns him to his personal Justice League as a special agent, and then given an artificially intelligent car to work alongside. And so this is one of my favorite quotes I think I've ever read on the show. It's from an article on flickeringmyth.com. According to David Hasselhoff's autobiography, Don't Hassle the Hoff, NBC President Brandon Tartikoff was dubious regarding the male talent available for the small screen and wanted a show where a supercar did most of the talking and the male lead did not. So I just love David Hasselhoff's autobiography name. And then the fact that there was a running joke about how like they couldn't get good male actors. Like they're beautiful, but they don't do very well on like delivering lines. And so they're like, let's just get a car to do the talking. It's
and
so
also,
good.
Not too dissimilar from how virtually every single CMO I've ever met talks about their technical, co-founder or CEO. Yeah. They're like, if we could just get them not on the mic a lot, that would be great.
It's so true.
Get them coding. That's can we get
He
B-roll?
has a face for radio.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love
Whereas
it.
in this case, it's just get as much of Hasselhoff's face as we possibly can, but limit the talking. That's hilarious.
Yep.
Also, like crazy because Hasselhoff's amazing, but it's funny that that's how it started out.
Yeah, totally. So, of course, David Hasselhoff plays Michael Knight, and his car is named KITT, which is an acronym KITT, and it stands for Knight Industries 2000.
I am the voice of Knight Industry 2000's microprocessor, KITT for easy reference, a KITT if you prefer.
No, I don't prefer, and what's more, I don't intend to drive around in a car that talks back to me.
And this was actually a turning point for David Hasselhoff because he was previously known as a soap opera star. And so this was sort of his entrance into action films. But as for KITT, this is super cool. They teamed up with John Scannella, who was the chief designer of Pontiac at the time. And he made the first sketch of what he thought the car should look like on a napkin, which still exists. So that's super cool. That's still out there. But together with the sort of team from the show, they designed a 1982 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am, and then they customized it for about $100,000. And Glenn A. Larson, who was the producer, wanted the car to have what he described as this beating heart. And so they came up with the idea for this iconic beam of light on the nose of the car. And that sort of indicates that it's a sentient or sort of like living being. But what was interesting about looking into like the production of this is it turns out that Glenn A. Larson had faced quite a bit of criticism for making like knockoffs of other popular content or established IPs. But he worked on these really big, amazing shows like Battlestar Galactica, like super popular, successful shows. It clearly didn't seem to slow him down. And I feel like we can get like a marketing lesson from that. Just like take inspiration from things that are popular and successful out there and use it, you know, in your own work. So all in all, it aired from 1984 to 1986. At the time, it didn't really get good reviews. The critics didn't really like it, but it definitely has a cult following and a fan base that still exists today. And so, Ashley, I'm wondering if you can give your expertise on the show and what you loved about it, and also like how you can tie it to marketing.
So, first of all, like big ups to Pontiac Trans Am.
Yeah, huge ups. Couldn't be
like
star of the show.
Product placement, Smokey and the Bandit, Knight Rider, like they got chef's kiss, some really premium placements when they wanted to like showcase that car. But I think Knight Rider is a really good example that about the car itself. As a marketing and ad person, you can kind of look at it and be like, oh, that product placing is amazing. Big ups, right? And I'm not saying like Pontiac killed it. But when I look at it from like thought leadership and content marketing, I'm looking around the car and the kind of around the features and the functionality. Because you're not giving your content a lot of oomph if you're just doing a laundry list of like features and functionality, right? It's AI, voice recognition, it's got turbo boost, it's bulletproof, it's got this great, you know, audio layer to it and a display layer, like internally. Okay, great. But like back to what the story was about is it's a great example of like storytelling, right? So you've got self-driving Trans Am, bulletproof voice recognition. Oh, okay. And then on the other side, you've got bring back a guy from the dead. He's going to be driving an AI car with all these really cool crime-fighting features, and he's going to right wrongs and stand up for the little guy.
Buddy, to investigate.
To investigate what?
Well, if I knew that, we wouldn't have to investigate now, would we?
You call that logic?
You got a better idea?
That's a story, right? And so I think for me, when I'm thinking about how do you create marketing that really sticks with people, you got to give them the AI and the voice recognition and the bulletproof and the hot car thing. You got to give them features and functionality, but you need to really pull them away from like brochureware, right? Don't take a product sheet and turn it into a web page. We're so past that because a lot of the times people are going through and checking boxes for that stuff, but they're not getting the use case, the value prop, the differentiation that's wrapped around those features and functionality. And when you do have something that's different, doubling down on that so you can stand out, you're going to do that in storytelling, case studies, you know, and you always have these big story arcs. So back to, we're talking about taking popular IP and getting inspiration from it. I mean, stories are pretty basic, right? You've got some pretty clear ones that I think about in B2B. It's like, you got the Rudolph story, right? Either, you know, here's our differentiation, the little red nose, or things were cranking along and then you hit a stormy patch and now things are better because you use this product. Or maybe there's a David and Goliath story and the Goliath needs to protect their market share, right? They've worked really hard. They've built up this place in the marketplace and they need to protect it from all these up and comers. Or maybe the protagonist is the up and comer, right? They're coming in and they got to be scrappy and, to use a boxing term, punch above their weight, right? So the stories that you kind of unearth in there is how they've used that product, but you've got that big or like story arc that kind of pulls it all together. I talk a lot about like tortoise and the hare. Maybe you're not first to market, but best to market, right? Three Little Bears, like whatever kind of story structure that helps you kind of frame up what it is I'm talking about. What is the conflict Who's the protagonist? And then what does that denouement or resolution look like? And when you're able to do that, you're going to have a fuller, clearer picture for the audience to really glom onto. Because unless you're in the room with them telling that story, right? You've got to let your digital content do a lot of work. And so giving it as much human accoutrement, as it were, like storytelling and protagonists and conflict and resolution, giving them all of the things that human beings would look for in a story is going to help you out.
I got a lot of thoughts on Knight Rider.
You got thoughts on Knight Rider? Oh my God, I want to hear them.
Oh yeah. First off, I understand the sort of the backstory of this crazy billionaire guy, and it's weird the fact that he names the guy's new name is his same surname, so it's like he's his son, and then the bad guy, which ends up being look like his son, is super weird. Anyways, there's all sorts of stuff that we get in there, but I think that the showrunner actually gets it wrong a little bit in how they describe the show. I don't think it's at all one man comes into town. I think it's a buddy cop, and it's a guy in his car. And so I think that they kind of underestimate that part of this, that this story is about a guy who loves his car and his car talks back. And so, and how could you not love the car? Because, and we'll get into this here in a second, Pontiac didn't even know how good they had it with creating this. But I think that, so this sort of gets at a very elemental thing in storytelling, whether it's like someone who loves their horse or their dog or their cats that are locked in the other room, or their dog that walks around and flaps their ears from time to time during recordings. But I think it's this you're going on a quest, you're going on this thing, and what the horse that you rode in on is how you're getting out of there. You think about how much people love their first car, their last car. Oh, that was the car that I had when I met you. Do you remember that? I feel like that it is that buddy cop. And again, KITT is sentient. So it's not just someone, who loves their car, but it's this thing that I'm going to put this car through absolute hell. I'm going to go on crazy jumps. It's going to do all this crazy stuff where you're inherently putting the car at risk. There's legit fear in these episodes when KITT is on its side. As an audience, you're like, dang, are we going to be able to fix KITT? How can we bring him back when he's injured?
When he's in trouble and his voice slows down because he's losing power. Like, you're rooting for KITT. I've seen that. There's an episode where they're in the desert.
Yeah, that's the one I watched in preparation for this.
Oh, they're like, KITT, don't die. But then on the other side, like Michael Knight's side, think about it. This guy is supposed to be dead. It's not like he has his family or anything. That's a very isolating thing, right? Sure. You got to give him a friend. And of course, it's like the Batman and Robin thing, right? You give them a counterpart, give them a buddy to keep their humanity, keep connected so they can go out and be the hero they're supposed to be. Oh, is there anything more perfect?
I know, right? Do either of you watch The Witcher at all? It's a TV show?
I haven't.
Yes.
Okay.
Henry Cavill.
Yeah, so Henry Cavill, yeah.
That's all you had to say.
That's all you had to say, indeed. So he is a bit like the Hoff, stunning piece of meat to watch on TV. But also, so he has his horse named Roach, who he talks to. Yep. And in the same sort of thing, now the horse can't talk back to him, but this is how you get a sense at who the person is behind the person, because he is one way when people are around him and he's another way to the horse. And other characters sort of bring, human elements out of him.
Yep.
But again, the plot of The Witcher is the exact same as, it's not the exact same, but it's not too far off. It's, someone who had been wronged and now their body is transformed. And now they have their companion is that they're going to go off and do the deeds that the regulars can't do anymore because they're, this forgotten, disgraced sort of person. It's the exact same story, but without the horse, without the car, you wouldn't get a sense of who the person is. And I think that so often when we're doing storytelling, we forget about, having that foil. And sometimes it's very heavy-handed and other times it's not. But I think that's important. second thing here.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead, Ashley.
Well, I was just going to piggyback on that because I think also what KITT allows, or what that sidekick does, is it allows for exposition, like to spell things out to the audience. Otherwise, they would be talking to themselves, and that's kind of goofy.
Super
right?
goofy.
Because you'd be like, who is this crazy person talking to his car, right? But the car talks back. So this idea that it's like, what are you thinking, Michael? And Michael can then set the stage for the audience to understand, oh, this is what the episode's about. This is what we're going to go try to do. Here's our plan. And I think for the audience having it spelled out, we know what we're looking for now.
Michael, I can serve you better if I'm familiar with your strategy.
Good point, KITT. Our game plan is simple yet complex. We lay low, we blend in with the other racers on and off the course. We observe, deduce, and analyze.
In other words, we're winging it, as usual.
This idea of like, kind of like laying out little breadcrumbs at the beginning of this is what we're going to do. It's a great way to, again, create exposition.
You know, you mentioned at the top of this, well, actually, I think you mentioned this in prep, that this is like one of your sort of turn your brain off and watch this type shows. Like this is your, whatever, guilty pleasure watch, that it's just, you get to see the Hoff, good guys being good, bad guys being bad. You get to see the cool car, and it's nostalgia and it's cool and all that sort of stuff. And I think that to someone who, I watched Knight Rider when I was young, but I definitely never watched it as when I was older. So going back and rewatching it is kind of funny. But and we have so much other stuff now that's, talking cars. And I mean, Transformers with Bumblebee, for example, is like a great example. It's okay, this is like the coolest car ever now, right? Anyways, all that to say, at the time, talking car, sentient talking car is really, very, very cool. And also this car is really, really cool. So I think that, part of that, the allure is not only is this car, it's up armored, it has all this crazy stuff. So I think that piece is really interesting. And then, you give it this personality. And now all of a sudden this robot, which you love. So it's, a lot of times Hollywood takes the sort of, AI robots taking over the world type approach. And this is just your buddy. This is just your homie that's just answering your questions and helping you, fight crime. And I think that that's just like fun and refreshing. Also doesn't hurt. Did you know, Meredith, that the voice of KITT is the man himself? It's Mr. Feeney.
No.
Yes.
What? Who?
Yes, it is this William Daniels. I'm almost positive that he's the guy who, he's George Feeney from Boy Meets World.
Oh my gosh.
No.
And then
way.
Yeah, and then you hear the voice as KITT and you go, oh my gosh, I can kind of hear it.
You're right.
And now I hear it. Yeah.
I know.
My brain can't unknow that now. Like it's going to live forever in my little noodle.
I know. I'm sorry.
I love that.
So I was reading that on IMDb. It said that the first time that Hasselhoff and William Daniels met was actually at the Christmas party after filming for 6 months. They had never actually met, so he didn't even know who the voice was, which is kind of a funny production note. Again, I think it's really interesting. Like a marketing lesson here from Knight Rider is that Hasselhoff was not famous like this before Knight Rider. Obviously William Daniels had not even begun to don the mustache and blazer to become Mr. Feeney, not too long after that. But I think it's important to sort of like think of marketing as like, how can we find and unearth talent that can deliver, a lot of results. So I think, from that perspective, there's a key takeaway. I got another one, which is, shout out to the people of Pontiac for providing all the vehicles. So basically what they did in production, so they made this $100,000 one that did all the crazy stuff. Mm-hmm. And then they just basically supplied them with like never ending Trans Ams that they could use for other stuff. And so Pontiac got tons and tons and tons of press out of this.
Yeah.
The bad side, they kept running out of the car.
Oh, that's fine.
So it's like they basically kept running out of the exact Knight Rider car. And it's like, how obvious is that to make basically the exact Knight Rider car which is black Firebird Trans Am, T-tops, tan interior, red lights on the front bumper, just like the show car. Tons of people asking for this, and they couldn't deliver on it, of course, right? And it's like one of those things where if you're going to go, if you're going to do it big. You know what I mean? Like, just
plan for
it,
success.
Right? Yeah. And I remember people, and people still do this. There's a car in my neighborhood that has this, that has like the Transformers logo on their car. I think that modern, as we've done more iterations of this over the past, 40 years, that it's gotten better and better, obviously, but it's still just what a missed opportunity for them to like really steer into this. And it's just funny. It's like, oh, no way. People want the like coolest car ever made. You should probably figure that out.
Yeah. I got to say though, it's really smart in the intro. When the car is driving up and it's doing the vroom, vroom. First of all, that sound is like Darth Vader's voice. Like everyone knows that sound. So it's so ownable to the show. But it's also probably a car. I know just from my previous iteration at Porsche, the profile of the car and how you shoot the car is really important, right? Because you want to own your fly line, you want to own your silhouette, and that car coming right at you, the sun glinting off of it. I mean, it's free advertising, and the car looks so cool and so prowly and so powerful. You're like, yes. And it's in every intro. It's the opening credits.
Well, and I want to ask you this because you worked for car companies. Why don't they do more of this? Like, why don't they make, shows and films and things like this that could showcase the car in a way that's not just in an ad,
Yeah, I mean, car placement in TV and movies, and this is just my experience. It's not what I do. I didn't place cars or anything like that. But there's kind of there's a whole working like agency system that works with the studios to get the cars placed. Part of it is working with like transport captains for getting the cars. Some cars are written into scripts and then some aren't. And then some cars are happy accidents. The urban thing with Bad Boys with the 911, that was the director's car. And that got used.
Oh, that's funny. No way.
Yeah, Risky Business. I believe that was a gratis placement. Like, other times you got like really direct one-to-ones and you want like product placement, but you got to have the cars available. They've got to be available for all the shoots, the days, the runovers, and da-da-da-da. So you got to have the inventory. So things like, I'm assuming, Trans Ams, like having to pump Trans Ams into the Knight Rider cycle for 3 seasons. It's a lot of cars getting tied up. A DeLorean getting into how many, Back to the Future films? That's intense. That's a lot of inventory. So I can definitely see how if cars like, and again, this is me just surmising because I didn't work on that side of the business at all. To see a car that's purposely placed and having a script written around the car, that is somebody cooked it up in their noodle, had a very specific idea and had a very good partnership with that automaker for sure.
Well, and that's, you see like the actual, chief designer of Pontiac actually did the sketch. You know what I mean? Right? So clearly like they were tied in. But yeah, anyways, like if I was a car company and I was thinking about, creative ways to get our car in front of people, I mean, how many freaking yellow Camaros do you think were sold after that first Transformer movie? You know what I mean?
That's a great question. All the cars in Fast and Furious.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so anyways, it's just another piece of this puzzle, which is if you're going to go, all in, like really go all in, anticipate the demand, put it in all of your marketing, do everything you can possibly do to make, to make it as good as possible. And we don't know exactly how much they did or did not do it, but we do know that they weren't ready for the demand of the exact vehicle of which, if you were to do it today, make it a limited edition, make a certain number of them, do whatever. So anywho, I digress. But if you're gonna go through all the effort to make something really cool, you may as well go the extra mile.
Or on the other side, pretty good trick. You're creating scarcity and a lot of demand. Charge a premium for cars like that. I mean, if you're, to your point, limited edition, you're only doing X amount. Suddenly they are, on a waiting list and you're like queuing up. So remember the Apple iPhones where you used to just stand around. Oh, I got to go get in line.
Well, yes. I mean, so they, for Transformers, Bumblebee is Bumblebee because he was a Beetle originally. Oh, and then they changed it to a Camaro because Michael Bay wanted a Camaro. So it's, anyways.
That is the genius of Michael Bay right there.
Yeah.
Not a Beetle bug. We want a Camaro.
Yeah.
The man is a genius. He's a national treasure. I'm just saying.
Oh, you got no complaints here. But anyways, I think it's worth sort of thinking through the machinations of those type of decision making. And I bet you, like, again, in retrospect, I bet you if they could have a do-over, they probably go, a lot harder into the marketing side of having this hit. Because again, it's like this show reached an absolute ton of people. So everybody wanted the car. People still want the car. Are you kidding me?
Oh, yeah.
It's probably worth more now. I mean, it definitely is worth more now.
And I think probably if, like, you were to ask, like, American Muscle car fans or car collectors, like, what kind of garage would you fill, or how would you fill a garage? This would pop up pretty regularly.
For sure.
I would think.
Another just marketing takeaway from this, which we touched on a little bit, which is that your audience will forgive a slightly sloppy setup as long as it gets you to where you need to go, right? Billionaire takes this guy's face, he's basically dead, reconstructive surgery, and bam, it's Hasselhoff. I don't really care, right? Like, I don't need to see the surgery that happened. I don't need to meet the world's most renowned doctor that did the surgery. I probably do need to know why the person chose to have the face exactly like his son. that might need to get its own storyline. But we'll forgive a lot to get where we really want to go, which is on the journey. And I think that's a good enough setup that we get it. It reminds me of Face Off, right? It's the most ridiculous premise for a movie, but it's basically a body swap, right? That's what the movie is. It's just a body swap movie. They just happen to do it as they tick their faces off. It makes absolutely no sense. But to the audience, you're like, I really don't care. And maybe some people do, but for a lot of people, they don't.
I don't think most people care. They're like, buy the premise. Let's get into it. I've pressed play. Let's watch it.
You have to have liked Face Off, right?
I loved Face Off.
Yeah.
I love anything with Nicolas Cage in it, and I love anything with John Travolta for the same reason why I like a lot of other things. It's big. It's extravagant. It's campy. Good guys are good guys. Bad guys are bad guys, and the good guys win. Awesome. I'm a very simple creature. I wish I could be more thoughtful in my media consumption. If Nielsen ever reached out and they were like, hey, we would like to monitor your media consumption, I would be like, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think those are learnings you want. I don't think there's anything here for you. Matt, I recommend my next door neighbor. He seems very thoughtful and deep. Yeah. I, meanwhile, am going to pop in an old Animaniacs cartoon and do laundry.
I love that show.
I absolutely love that show. Love it. It's great. Even the remake was great, but the original, chef's kiss.
Okay. Anything else on Knight Rider?
The thing that always stuck out when I was younger was that they had a female mechanic and a female engineer.
How's Frankenstein? Ready to roll?
I've increased the range of all the scanners. And I've added an electrical jamming device.
Oh, yeah?
Right now, there's only one thing wrong with this car.
I know. The nut behind the wheel. That's very funny. Very funny.
Yeah.
And
that's cool.
I really liked that. That was different. That wasn't something I saw a lot. And, it was kind of one of those things where you love to see yourself represented. And she was crushing it. She had great hair. Oh my God. Both women who played the mechanic, great hair. April in the second season, amazing hair and not a hair out of place, looking glam and, lifting up that hood and getting down in there and tinkering on KITT. Yeah, it was good. It was really good. And so, and of course it makes sense. Like, it's like futuristic car. Of course a woman's a mechanic. I'm going to brag on my gender for a minute. Of course we're doing that.
That's amazing.
Because we're awesome.
I love it.
I have one final take on this, which is not a huge success in terms of the spin-offs. They just didn't really work. And I don't really have any, I didn't study the spin-offs. They changed KITT, which is like an auto fail, right? Like you can't change KITT. That's absolutely never going to work. Great. Even if you have Hasselhoff, that's just basically killing one of your two characters, right? I think that there's a world where a remake could be done of this really, really well. I think it's a good enough premise, and they haven't done it yet, but I think it probably does need to be different. I don't know how. It does really make you think, though, where you're like, did they just have something so good with Hasselhoff and KITT together that that's what made it work? It's if it hasn't been able to work since, that it's like maybe the casting just never got it right or something. I don't know.
I mean, when we talked about this earlier, we were talking a lot about how Hasselhoff was a bit of an unknown talent and they needed KITT to carry a lot of the work. But here's a guy acting against an inanimate object and a voiceover, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, 80s, got to give it a little grace, but to find that person who can do that and sell it, you're right. Like, that's going to be kind of tricky. That's probably why it's getting that right combo of the person being able to be the human in the buddy story where the other buddy's not human.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the other thing too is like all the stunts and all that stuff were all crazy back in, the early 80s. Since then with CGI and all that other stuff. Again, I go back to Bumblebee as like a pretty good example where you're like, yeah, that's just a car that coincidentally cannot talk, that can do all this like crazy stuff and is your buddy. So anywho, I feel like we did it justice.
Huge fan.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael Knight.
Yes. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you for
your service.
And thank you, KITT. Okay, switching gears to how you think about brand, how you think about content. What's working for your audience? What's your strategy?
Well, strategy, like at a super high level, we try to keep it simple because simple is hard. It's providing insights and solving problems, right? And the goal is to always be very clearly working with the insights that we can provide and solving problems. So when I look at content and I look at our audience, they are coming to us looking for something, looking to solve for something. And I love that because it helps us clear out some of the noise and some of the kind of, we could be doing this and we can be doing that. I mean, part of strategy is saying no, right? It's like really focusing on what is the frame that we need to paint our picture in and stay there and make sure it's the best painting ever, right? And so knowing that our audience are coming to B2B sites, coming and interacting with our content because they're trying to solve problems. So our job is to anticipate those needs, explain our expertise, and then help them understand how we can help them respond to their issues or challenges. And I love that because it gives us a roadmap. Like, what are the business problems that they're trying to solve for where we make sense? Now, this is very much the B2B side of the house. I don't work on the D2C side, which is the credit reporting agency and all of that. They have their own strategy and own strategy team. I'm talking about largely the B2B side and our global sites for B2B. And I love that because we work a lot against jobs to be done. What is the task basket that our customers are responsible for? And if you start unpacking all those tasks that they're trying to do, where do we fit? What kind of insights do we have? What can we provide? And how can we get them closer to a solution? And it's hard because it means you have to almost kind of serve up the analysis, get it in a really digestible form, which again, easy is hard, and then get them to that next place, which is engaging with a piece of content, engaging in that next step in the journey, conversion point, whatever it is that you need them to do. And so I really like it, again, because it's that advanced problem solving. What is the problem we're trying to solve? What are all the different, what is the constellation of tasks attached to that problem? And then what can we do to help? So I find that part probably the hardest, because if you can't, Einstein, I think, once said, solution is easy once you understand the problem. And my words, not his. Obviously, his are probably a lot brainier, but solution's easy when you understand the problem. And I think that if we can get down to really defining what the issue is we're trying to solve for, then world's your oyster.
I love the Einstein, if I had an hour to solve the problem, I'd spend the first 59 minutes diagramming the problem and then 1 minute solving it.
Yep.
Turns out that guy, pretty smart and nice turn of phrase. So tell me a little bit just more about your audience and what's working again. Like what is the type of stuff that you feel like you want to make that your audience?
Yeah. So we use content marketing, and thought leadership is kind of core to our content marketing strategy for B2B. So again, it's providing that analysis, providing those insights, and then really putting together a constellation of interpretation. This is what you're seeing. This is why you're seeing it. These are the kinds of experts that we have, putting all of this stuff together. And we do that through very top of funnel thought leadership stuff. And then the smarts that are baked all the way through that path and journey. And it's always coming down to, what do I want that audience to do? So you arrive and you encounter this piece of content. What is that next step for you? Because especially in the type of products that we sell, the lead time is very long. So we need to constantly be tapping people on the shoulder, and we need to be sticky. So creating memorable content, creating a pathway to discoverability, which is a huge metric for me. Like, I'm literally looking, what is the path? What is the discoverability? And are they doing what we want them to do when we want them to do it? And it sounds manipulative, but it's not. It's because that's customer experience. That's audience experience, right? Are they coming? Are they learning, digesting, and then are they doing the next thing? What's the drop-off? Why is the drop-off? Who's coming? Why are they coming? Why are they not coming? So it's constantly trying to be very, very smart about what kind of audience experience we want to create.
All right. What about one of your favorite pieces of content or a campaign that you've done?
Well, I mean, my stuff, I could talk about it all day, but that's kind of boring. I have two things right now that I'm kind of in love with.
Yeah.
That are actually out in the wilds that are other people's.
Sure.
One is Squarespace. Have you guys been on their YouTube? Oh, sweet Lord. I love this. I will read this to you. Tell me this is not the greatest explanation of this YouTube channel ever. Okay. Squarespace empowers millions of dreamers, makers, and doers by providing them with the tools they need to bring their creative ideas to life. On Squarespace's dynamic, all-in-one platform, customers can claim a domain, build a website, sell online, and market a brand. Our suite of products combines cutting-edge design and world-class engineering, making it easier than ever to establish and own your online presence. Bam. So smart. So thorough. I mean, just super. You ever see a piece of, like, out in the wilds when you're like looking at stuff? Do you ever see things and go, God, that is so good. I want that. I wish I'd made that. Because that is just so great. And then you go to their YouTube channel and you see the way it's structured. They've got this thing called Squarespace Guide, which is, it's this really well-branded, like, small business content and tutorials that is just really in the weeds. Because, I mean, small businesses, you're doing everything. You're your own accounts payable, contracting, payment, IT, marketing, CFO, CTO, everything, right? So it's just so good. And then they've got this thing called collections, which is this like high concept, stylized, branded content series. Super, super smart. They are really nailing down their makers and doers and really getting in the weeds with them and really working with them. And they just seem to really get it. And I don't use Squarespace. This is not an endorsement of Squarespace. This is the marketing is just smart. Like they did a really, really smart, cool thing. And I just love the way the playlists are organized. And it's just super thorough, but still very simple and very easy to understand. And they did not make it so easy and so simple that they lost some of the style and the gravitas of some of the branding elements that they could make in, which I thought was great.
Yeah, that's really cool. And
then another one that I'm loving right now, which is super fun, is, have you been on Salesforce lately? If you go to salesforce.com.
I have indeed.
Yes. And have you experienced the Agent Force takeover?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, first of all, the schedule a demo persistent, following through all the pages, perfect. I love how the Slack community is there. It's all just baked in. And I love how you can use their agent AI to search the content about Agent Force. It's so smart. It's like drinking your own champagne. So great. I mean, it's like a demo in and of itself. And then they do this great thing that I think a lot of B2B people do. They've broken up their use cases by industry and then by task or job to be done. And their task types, all that lead-in copy is super active voice and results driven, which is just such strong positioning. It's just really elegant to look at. And it's just really clear what it is you're supposed to be getting out of this particular functionality or this particular feature or this particular use case. And I just was like, and this again, not an endorsement of Salesforce. This is just, again, you see a piece of marketing, you're like, that is so fun. Good for you, marketers. You killed it. I mean, you could sell pencils or you could sell Agent AI. I don't care if it's cool. It's cool.
I love it.
So those are the things that I'm like kind of looking at going, that's awesome. Good for y'all.
I know. I love it. So good. Ashley, it's been wonderful having you on the show today. Thanks so much for joining. Thanks for talking. Knight Rider, any final thoughts? Anything to plug?
Anything to plug? No. You did ask me in prep, though, a really important question that I've been thinking about a lot, where it's like, because I'm at that stage in my career where I am trying to cultivate talent and build talent and mentor and guide. And I was talking about advice. And for enterprise marketers, market your marketing. The challenge you've got is throughout your organization, people are seeing your marketing, but they're seeing it more as users. They're seeing the end product. They're not always understanding the strategies behind it. And I love a good dashboard. I love a good metric. I love a good deck. But you don't want to turn them into crutches. You need to have that elevator pitch. This campaign does this. This is what we're doing. This is what we're talking about. And this is what value looks like. Or this is what ROI looks like. Or this is the purpose of it. And I think marketers, we get so caught up in the bits and bobs and the how it's made. And we like to geek out on that stuff. We forget that really everybody just needs 3 or 4 bullet points. And the farther you go up, they're not looking at a dashboard. They're not looking at your slide deck. They're not looking at any of that. They just need 3 points, 4 points. And I think that's where it's funny because, we don't do for ourselves as we should do for our company or for our customers, which is market your marketing. Make sure people are understanding why you're doing what you're doing and how. So that's kind of one of those things I've been thinking about a lot because as we pivot, especially with AI-enabled search and everybody's internally trying to make changes, you have to market this stuff. You have to explain why we're doing what we're doing, how we're going to make changes and why it's important and how it's going to add value. Otherwise, it's, marketing's squawking again. Oh, look, a dashboard. Hooray. I mean, I love a good dashboard, but come on.
I couldn't agree more. Market your marketing.
Market your marketing. Full chest. Market your marketing. No, I'm just kidding.
Awesome. Thanks so much. We really appreciate it. And we'll talk soon.
All right. Bye, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Ashley.
Thank you.
Well, that's it for today. I hope you got some good ideas for your B2B content. Thank you for listening to Remarkable. I'm Ian Faison, CEO of Caspian Studios. Remarkable is created by the team at Caspian Studios, B2B podcast as a service. Caspian also creates fiction series for B2B companies, so if you want a business thriller, you can learn more at caspianstudios.com. Hollywood-style storytelling for B2B. And in today's episode, you heard from myself, Ian Faison, and Meredith O'Neill, senior producer here at Caspian Studios. Remarkable was produced this week by Meredith O'Neill, mixed by Scott Goodrich, and our theme song is Solomon by Falak. Be remarkable and rise above the noise.